With the Edmonton Oilers on the verge of Stanley Cup or bust mode, they brought in a new general manager this offseason, one with 3 Stanley Cup victories to his credit, as well as one of the most famous last names in all of hockey history. So today we're going to tell you all about Stan Bowman and ask the big question, can he bring a Stanley Cup victory to the Edmonton Oilers? Hey everybody, welcome in, and Clearing the Bench is your one-stop shop for hockey content. If you go ahead and hit your subscribe button right now, you'll be sure to be in on all of our future videos. While everybody knows how last season ended for the Oilers, they were this close to putting Game 7 into overtime in the Stanley Cup Finals, but unfortunately for them and their fan base, it did not happen. So they made some significant moves this offseason, and in my opinion, the biggest is they changed general managers. Ken Holland is out, and on July 24th, the Edmonton Oilers named Stan Bowman as their new general manager. First of all, everybody, if you don't know, Stan Bowman is the son of legendary hockey coach Scotty Bowman. And on a little side note real quick, Stan Bowman was named after the Stanley Cup. When he was the general manager of the Chicago Blackhawks, he won 3 Stanley Cups, 2010, 2013, and 2015. While he was there, the Kyle Beach situation also took place. I just want to say real quickly that anybody who had a chance to help that kid out and did not, you're a loser in my opinion. You know, you got to do the right thing when the situation presents itself, and apparently nobody did the right thing in Chicago. That's, you know, years ago. They all resigned. I believe it was in 2021. But since then, I believe they've all been reinstated. So despite the fact that heads rolled, you know, they are back eligible for work in the NHL again. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. You know, along with him winning 3 Stanley Cups in Chicago, he's also got that baggage with him as well. When he was with the Chicago Blackhawks, he had a lot of experience with big-name, high-profile players. 2 of the biggest in the league at the time were Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews. He signed them to, you know, like record contracts, and he also signed Patrick Sharp and Seabrook on the back end. He knows that he needs the #1 thing, in my opinion, that he's been thinking about when he took this job is how can he get Draisaitl and McDavid locked up for the future so he doesn't have to worry about that. Draisaitl's a UFA after this season, and McDavid is a UFA after next season. So, you know, along with everybody else in the hockey world, we're going to be keeping a close watch on that. One thing we know about Stan Bowman is he is not afraid to make trades. He has made a ton of trades, and he has traded away some very, very big-name guys. Dustin Byfuglien, back in the day, he traded away. The Oilers had already traded for Matt Savoy when Stan Bowman was named general manager. That trade happened on July 5th, and Bowman came in on the 24th. But I would definitely think that is a move that Stan Bowman is very, very happy about. Another thing, too, is that he may be very active during the season making trades. He wants to reshape this roster, and again, the faster that the Oilers can win a Stanley Cup, you know, you're going to have it where it's the first Stanley Cup coming back to Canada in over 30 years. And, you know, the Oilers obviously are, you know, NHL legendary franchise. So if he was able to bring it back and they would win the Cup in his first year as general manager, that would be a real big feather in his cap. Now, one thing, you know, when I say he may be restructuring this team during the season, I looked at their roster. They've got 10 forwards that are 30 years of age or older, and they've also got 5 D-men that are 30 years old or older. So that's 15 of your 24 guys are over 30 years old. So at some point, he's going to have to start making deals to get this team a little younger. So another thing I think is going to be his top 3 tasks when he took over this team. And I think the first thing, besides the Draisaitl and McDavid situation, everybody's thinking about that. But if you're the GM of the Oilers, I would imagine that you have got to evaluate this goaltending tandem, and you've got to decide if you're going to roll with Stuart Skinner in the future. He's there for 2 more years, and then he is a UFA. As we saw last year in the playoffs, goaltending is at a premium. It's probably the most important position on the ice, if we can't say that definitively already. So I would say he's definitely going to be keeping a real close eye on seeing what him and Calvin Pickard are able to do. But I think if he does make a big move, it could involve a goaltender. I know several were already moved this offseason, but there are still several available that he may call inquiring about this season. Second, I think he needs to extend Evan Bouchard. In my opinion, Evan Bouchard proved himself that he is very, very capable, not only in the regular season, but also in the playoffs. You don't find guys to run your power play from the point very often, and especially seeing as the NHL on the power play has really gone to a 4-forward, 1 defenseman setup. Evan Bouchard being the 1 defenseman setup for the power play unit number 1 in the Oilers is a big spot that you would have to fill if Bouchard left. So I would say extending Evan Bouchard is definitely going to be high up on Stan Bowman's list as well. And then finally, I think he's got to look ahead, and he's got to look at the playoffs. Maybe take a look at last year's playoffs. Watch those finals again. See how McDavid got bottled up by all the physicality and the violence that Florida brought their way. And he is definitely going to have to upgrade his D. I'm sorry, but guys like Troy Stetcher, Josh Brown, and Cody Ceci are really not who you want playing in the playoffs, especially, if it's an elimination game. Ceci did have 25 points last year during the regular season, but last year in the playoffs, he was a -5, and in his career in the playoffs, he is a -16. So again, I think Stan Bowman is going to be looking around the league and seeing if there's any defensemen that he would be able to acquire to upgrade for the playoffs. So to answer the big question, can Stan Bowman bring the Stanley Cup to Edmonton? I am going to say the answer is definitively yes. The Oilers came oh so close last year, and there's no reason why, when they're rolling back a lot of the same players from last year, they really didn't lose any integral parts. So I just don't see anybody being able to, really trip them up in the playoffs. I don't want to say, that they're just going to roll out the red carpet and make it directly to the Stanley Cup Finals. But I would say coming out of the West next year, Edmonton's got to be the favorite, and if not, a heavy favorite. So I'm definitely going to say yes, and I think it could happen as soon as this year. He may take, a little bit while, a little longer. If it doesn't happen this year, if they were to get eliminated in the playoffs, he would still have had a full regular season and playoffs to evaluate this roster and then make some significant move next off season. So that's going to do it for today's video. We just wanted to talk about Stan Bowman and his hiring in Edmonton. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. If you're an Oilers fan, let me know if you like this hiring or not. If you could, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And as we always do here at Clearing the Benches, let them know you're out there.